Hello, everyone. I guess we can start now. Thank you very much for joining. My name is Yorgos Muftoglu, and I'm your moderator today. Welcome in our fourth webinar, which is organized as part of the webinars entitled Business and Art Come Together. We cooperate instead of competing, which are organized and implemented under the framework of the Erasmus Plus project Cultural Footprint. Now, a few words about the project. Cultural Footprint is a young entrepreneurial project for emerging artists, which aims to develop an enterprising mindset among them and encourage them to take responsibility for their professional careers and life achievements. The project applies a four-step methodology that improves youngsters' skills and help them realize their first entrepreneurial ideas. The first step is to inspire them, the second to teach them some practical skills, the third one to mentor them, and the fourth and last one to network them. The project idea is about promoting young entrepreneurship, individual tutoring, upgrading of digital skills, and creativity thinking among youth cultural workers and emerging artists in the role of learners and business experts in the role of trainers, hence promoting also learning by doing process. So today's webinar will introduce you to the fourth educational module, which has been also prepared and developed under the framework of the project, and it is entitled Find Your Collaborators. It was developed by our partners from Sweden and specifically SENSUS, and I have today with me Erika and Johan, who will be your trainers and presenters of the module. So, the aims of today's training will be the following. It will provide you first a theoretical understanding on what a collaboration is. Then it will provide you with a deeper understanding on different types of collaboration. And another aim is to provide you with concrete tools that you can use when building collaboration as artists. So, some general rules of the organization and implementation of these webinars. First and foremost, I have already started recording today's session. This session and all sessions of the Cultural Footprint webinars must be recorded due to the project's requirements for implementation and reporting. Hence, you may also see an automatic message appearing on top of your screen. This is always done in accordance with the GDPR. Therefore, if you don't wish to appear in the recorded version of this session or in some promotional photos that may be taken later on during the implementation, you can keep your cameras turned off. Moreover, I have shared with you in the chat, and I will share it again within a few minutes, the link to the digital attendance list that we need you to access, fill in, and sign. Lastly, an evaluation form will also be shared with you digitally by the end of today's training, and we will kindly ask you to fill that in as well, because it is very important, again, for the project's requirements of implementation. So this is the attendance list that I have shared with you in the chat. As you can see, you have to provide us with your full names, name of sending organization, or if there isn't any sending organization, at least from where or whom you heard about the webinars, your country of residence, your email address, and your signatures. Regarding your signatures, if you cannot copy and paste them or draw them in this place, then you can simply write again your names. But what is very important for us and for you is to write correctly your full names and email addresses, and I will explain in a few seconds why. Moreover, this is the evaluation form that will be shared with you by the end of the training. As you can see, it can be accessed both from your computers or your mobile phones. Now, some rules of communication. First of all, as I said before, the meeting is being recorded. Therefore, if you don't wish to appear in the recorded version of the session, which will also be available on the project's website and the YouTube channel that promotes the webinar, then you can keep your cameras turned off during the whole session. Now, regarding your microphones should be muted during the whole session unless you're asking questions or generally having the permission to speak. In case of questions, please first raise your hand, and once the trainers have given you permission to speak, then you can unmute yourselves. Lastly, about the attendance list that I have shared with you in the chat, it is very important for you to access these trainings and fill in the attendance list with your name appearing correctly, as well as your email address, because if we don't have your full names and your email addresses listed, then we won't be able to issue certificates for you after the end of the trainings. And lastly, before giving the floor to today's trainers, let me present you with an indicative agenda. We're already done with the introductory part of today's training. So what will follow for the next 45 minutes will be an introduction to collaboration and different types of collaboration. Then we may have a very short break of around 10 minutes. And during the last 45 minutes of today's session, you will be introduced to practical insights and tools for collaborations building. Be aware that during the whole training, you will be provided both with theoretical information, but you will also be asked to be actively engaged and participate in some practical exercises. And the last 5 minutes of today's session will cover some conclusive remarks and, of course, the evaluation form. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for joining in today's session. And Erika and Johan, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm going to start sharing my screen, so give me 1 second. Great, I can see people still coming. That's good. And I'm gonna... Do you see my screen now?
Yes, Erika, we do.
Yes, perfect. Okay, welcome all to our session for this evening, which is Find Your Collaborations. For those who just joined us, very welcome. My name is Erika, and I'm here together with Johan. Johan, do you want to start introducing yourself?
Yes, I can. I'm Johan Sigerud, and I have a long background in the music industry, from many parts actually, and very diverse roles. I've been a recording live artist, and I've also been A&R and PR at record companies. Had my own music label, club promoters, and the last 15 years I've mainly been producing music and working as an audio engineer. So yeah, it's from a lot of different parts of the industry, which is really interesting to be part of this kind of stuff. And also it's very useful since I have the job that I have today. So I am the manager of the SENSUS music team here in Stockholm. And I'm also active in projects all around Sweden and also in a few other European countries. I still do occasional freelance work, but it's hardly any time to do that now because we have so much to do here at SENSUS. And just a short thing about the music team that I'm the head of. We have like the mission to support artists, studio collectives, and other independent music creators with what they need to develop as a group or an artist. So it's very different from each group what they need, but we have a pretty wide toolbox, I'd say, that includes everything from our own rehearsal spaces and studios, and we have showcases and live shows and songwriting camps as well, and also alongside opportunities to create their own networks in the business, and we also do a lot of courses and so on. Everything is because we want to help them to develop. It's mainly funded by the Swedish state and the Stockholm counties. And we're also involved in a few of these Erasmus Plus projects as experts or trainers within the music sector. So that's sort of what I do. And my colleague Erika, would you like to say something about your work?
I don't have that extended resume at all. So now, compared to you, I'm gonna say nothing. No, but I work as the project
Don't be
manager
humble.
for the Erasmus Plus projects here. And we mainly work with cultural projects, music projects, and projects for people that are often excluded in the society. And this, to work with excluded groups, is one of the key elements of SENSUS, what we work with. So we wanted to start with this because we think it's important that you know who we are and that our experiences within this field, to also let you have the chance, and we want you to have the chance to present yourself to each other as well. And for us to have a good session together, we would like you to answer these 3 questions in the chat. First of all, which cultural sector do you belong to? Or you're an artist or musician? Yeah, you know. And second, what are your main role as an artist? And where are you from? So please answer these 3 questions shortly so we know who we have in the room. Since I share my screen, I cannot see the chat, but maybe you can have a look there, Johan, and see what's
I
coming
will
up.
scan it through. Yeah.
That's perfect.
And also, as Giorgio said, if you have any questions, you're free to write them in the chat whenever, and we'll try to pick it up. And also, if you want to, be vocal about it and actually explain and have a little bit of a conversation, you raise your hand. Just a reminder of what he just told you guys.
Okay, how does it look like? Do we have any answers?
I think we can go ahead.
Okay,
And you can do it
perfect.
whenever.
Yes.
Yeah.
For
Well,
sure.
we have
Okay.
we just received 2
Oh, good.
answers. So Max, he's an art student from Czech Republic. Anna is a teacher and she is from Sweden. Septa answered that she's a visual artist and illustrator, also from Czech Republic. Francesco, thank you for providing also with your details for the attendance list. You may also answer us these 3 questions. Halina said that she's an editor-in-chief. Great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Great. We have a good diversity here and a lot of competences, so that's great. Okay, I think I'm gonna move on. And as Johan said, you can still write in the chat. It's just good for this session that we share with each other. Okay, so these are the topics that we will go through. I will not go through it more in detail, but just for you to have an understanding. And as Georgios already said, we're gonna have a break somewhere in the middle, so you know. And these are the aims and objectives of our module and the topics that we are going to go through, which type of collaboration, building your collaborations, etc. And the outcomes we want you to know after this session is that we want to provide you with understanding of what collaboration is, how you can form it, how you can develop it, and also a small insight how we work with it here at SENSUS with our music groups. And we want you also to share with each other. So maybe we can get some collaboration from this session already. So now we're going to enter the theory part, and we're going to mix the theory with some practical questions. And just to make sure all of you participate in the way you want and what works for you. And the practical questions going to be a self-reflection question, so you know. Okay, so what is just to summarize, like how we work here at SENSUS and how we see collaboration. And to summarize, we work with a lot of groups and a lot of our organization, and many of these organization and groups, they contact us and they say, hey, we want to do this, we're a band, for example, and we want to do this in collaboration with you. And before we start a collaboration with a new band or a new organization or partner, we always ask each other, and in this initial talk with the collaboration or the participant. What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? And why? So by answering these three kind of questions, we can already there know what's the goal and how can we reach there together. So what would you say? For example, a good relationship example from SENSUS, in my point of view, are when, for example, one of these Erasmus projects, when we do a collaboration and we perform a task together, and we know before we know what we're going to do because we have answered that question together. We know how we're going to do it and why we're doing it. And that's a good example from my side. Johan, do you have some good example from the music, like a good collaboration example?
Yeah, I think we work quite the same, but it's also like by answering these questions, we sort of know who of us in the music team, for example, we're 10 people, and we all have different skill sets and different maybe backgrounds that, you know, different fields that we're more experienced in. So that is something that we always try to do, to not like if somebody contacted us to one person, and then we see that, oh, this group or this artist would actually fit much better with someone else in the team. We always try to use it like that, and we try to update like our expert roles within our team all the time to see who's mostly suitable to help these individuals, or also to be able to, you know, that we think it's fun. You know, it's also a really good thing that you need to be inspired to actually help, I think. And we can do that in very different ways. I said a little bit, I told you a little bit about what we have in the toolbox to help them. And that is something that we still, it also gets a need that we have to, you know, develop ourselves as workers in this team all the time to be in tune with what's happening all around us. And that also makes that we have a lot more options for them to be able to help them. So that's what we do. And it can also be like, what part of your career are you? Because we work with, for example, we have this sort of like projects that are meant for artists or groups that are a bit more established. So we have this project in Germany, for example, that is for the people that actually, the bands that's been touring around in Sweden, and they need to find a new market, or like they have to, you know, develop in that way. So they have to go to some other European country to be able to get some networks for them to maybe do a tour there. And in that case, we set up a lot of meetings with concert promoters, record labels and stuff in Germany, and make a showcase for them there. That's like for the ones that are most established in our in all our operations. But we also have the most interesting things, I think, is like the ones that are totally newbies that actually haven't you know, played before. I had a band just before the summer that came that came like, they first sent an email and they were like, yeah, we want to start a band, so let's have a meeting. And I met them in the rehearsal spaces we have here. And one of the first things, like when we try to go through those questions that you have here on the slide, is like why and how, you know, and like how do you want to, what kind of music do you want to make, or what kind of music do you do? Maybe that's like one of the first questions, to know sort of like what we can offer them. And they were like, I don't know, we never practiced. So they were just like a bunch of 17-year-olds, like there were five people, and they had a band in the theory, but they never actually played any instruments. And we can also help them, because then we have like rehearsal spaces that are equipped with everything you need. Basically, you don't need a guitar or a synthesizer or anything, because we have it there. So they can actually, if they feel the need to start a band, or like they want to experience that and go into that sort of thing, they don't need to have anything, or like, they can be totally broke or come from, any economical situation, actually. So that's like the most interesting way that we can help people, because usually coming from the business side of things, since I've been working with the record labels and co-owner on some of them as well, that's always that you always have to focus on what brings you money, because if you don't get any money from the artist, you don't have a salary yourself. And I think that's one of the best things about SENSUS, that it's non-profit, and we actually only focus on helping other people to develop themselves. Yeah.
And I think, I mean, since we are a big organization, we can help. We have the state-funded support to do this. But say you are an artist yourself and you just want to reach out. By starting asking yourself these kind of questions as well, it's going to easier make the meeting and the introduction of yourself to maybe the potential company or the organization you're applying to much easier, because you have already formulated, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to do, and why I want to do it. You have already there starting like pitching yourself. So I think that's also like an important thing to say. Okay, moving on from this. Let's see. Okay, since now we have talked a lot about what like a good collaboration is and how we work with collaboration, I would like you all to, by yourself, reflect, say what can we do to make a collaboration as bad as possible, and think of like all creative things you could do to ruin or yeah, to make a horrible collaboration. Say you, for example, I don't gonna listen, I'm gonna work with my own things, I don't care about anyone else, blah blah blah. So do this list for yourself, and we can take 2 minutes for you to do this, and then I would like you to maybe write some of the things in the chat. Feel free to share, and then together we can see from this list that we see in the chat, we can see which one of these we can instead make into a positive thing. So take 2 minutes and write in the chat and share how you can make a collaboration as bad as possible. And Georgios, can you also help us have a look at the chat so we can
Of
see?
course.
Perfect.
Yeah, don't worry.
Okay, do we have any answers in the chat, or should
We
we
just
start?
received one,
Perfect.
and it says lack of integrity can make collaborations bad.
Can you please, Johan, can you please help me develop that? How we can make it possible? Yeah, I mean, of course, if you have a lot if you have a lot of integrity, how we can the person who wrote that, if you want to describe more, you're very welcome to do so, so we can hear your thoughts on that.
We have also another answer from Savda for some examples. For example, to be late, to be unpleasant, to be unhappy, to not make the task, to not answer to emails, and she can think of 1,000 more.
Yeah, but I think, like, to summarize, instead to like turn those the other way, to have, I mean, you have, if you're in collaboration with someone, have respect for each other time, for each other's task, and yeah, fulfill your duty. And that can be hard hard time. It can also be a hard time telling people to do their tasks if their tasks haven't been committed. And there's a thin line in that you don't want to create, maybe cause more issues and problems and get in conflict with someone, but also in some way letting people know that time is running and what is happening with our task and the deadlines for it. For example, in these kind of projects we work with for the Erasmus, I think one very good way is that it's very clear from the beginning who is responsible for each task and which timeline we have for it. And during those timeline, we always have follow-ups, like we set, how we say, small goals. Like, for example, goal number 1 is that being achieved, and then we work all the way through the ending goal. So say you have a big task with someone, put it into small deliverables so you can check what's happening. Some more thoughts in the chat?
Yeah, Collins actually elaborated on the integrity aspect. So integrity is about honesty and loyalty. So if you're not honest and loyal, then your collaborations become bad. And Alina also said that fruitful collaboration was when promotion is on both sides at the same level. So I guess bad collaboration is the exact opposite thing. So when promotion is only for one part, not for both parties.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
There should
that's
be a
two really good aspects, actually. Since the honesty and loyalty part, it's really important to be transparent, both with what you want and also to be ready to listen to other ideas than maybe aligns with your original idea, I guess. So, and definitely a win-win situation, Halina, that's always a good goal to have. That's fruitful. Perfect.
Great. Thank you all for your thoughts. We have already got a lot of good reflection and interesting discussion, I think. So, okay, I'm gonna leave the floor. With this said about what good and not so good collaboration is, into the subtopic 1, which Johan is going to tell us more about. And we're going to go more in depth into what a collaboration actually is and the different forms of it. So the floor is yours, Johan.
Johan, you're on mute. Okay.
Sorry. We're gonna start with the overview, because like the collaborations are extremely, it's always been around. Maybe that's like one of the the most important aspects of being a human, I guess. And it's been, collaborating since ever we had a common and developed language. And the history has shown us that who collaborate often succeeds. For example, like John Lennon and Paul McCartney of the Beatles, and Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak for Apple computers. In that last case, I think most people recognize Jobs, and most other people forgot about Wozniak. But anyway, I'm gonna talk about a little bit like from the more definition side of it, that collaboration, what it means, and it means simply people working together with a common purpose to create or achieve something. It offers a lot of benefits, especially like in this cultural sector area, and many of those benefits can be like innovation and creativity, because you're not locked into your own self and your own ideas. You always get something that you can't really think about yourself from another person, or if you're a lot of people. It's also easier to problem solve, to be more efficient, and the productivity benefits from that, of course, and different perspectives and expertise. So it's like an essential skill, I'd say, in most fields and industries, and it's really basic, but it's extremely hard. I know, like, from coming from the being in all these roles I've been in, it's quite common actually to leave yourself alone, like being working in your own little bubble. That's something we always we see that a lot, in artists that we are working together with. It gets a little bit closed off sometimes, so it's good to think about. And also because in this business there's like a lot of freelancers and small size enterprises, and there's like a lot of scientific evidence that the actors in the creative sector in particular benefits from establishing strong collaboration ties. Definitely a good thing to have in mind. So if two actors have a divided perceptions of a third actor or a phenomenon when they are collaborating, it can imbalance in the relationship, of course, and the tension can arise that can lead to relationship ending or turning into state of dislike or hostility. So the successful collaborations that comes with a carefully building collaborative relationship that's characterized by some of the things that you said, but openness and knowledge sharing and accountability. To be loyal and to be transparent. It's about building trust and relating to each other every time and in different situations. Sharing stories, also important, and sharing the values and ideas. From that foundation, we can collaborate to co-create, develop, build, or scale up something that's already working. So the successful collaborations requires effective communication and mutual respect, shared vision and goals, and a willingness to compromise and find common ground. With that, I think we can go into the different types of collaborations. So you can change the slide. It can take a lot of forms, from working on a project with a colleague to participating in a cross-functional team or partnering with others on a joint venture. But usually you divide it up in like two main types of collaborations, and that's, of course, depends on what you hope to achieve with it. So the two different ones is the open collaboration. It's probably best for like wide-ranging, like big-scale things, like surveys, almost like surveys, but working together in that, in a collaborative mood. And we have the closed collaboration, and that's actually more fruitful than it might seem. That it's called closed, because I don't think it's closed, but it's like a a smaller group that you create together, based on like specialist skills or knowledge. And as a result of that, close collaborative groups tend to be much smaller, of course, than the open ones. For example, in SENSUS, we have a lot of closed collaborations for the groups that we work with. It could be like a rock group, for example, that writes and arranges songs together in a rehearsal room. And it could also be like music producers and vocalists and instrumentalists that works together in a songwriting camp. So I think like closed collaborations are probably the most common. But it's also interesting with the open collaborations that way. But you can achieve different things from the two. Yeah, we can change to the next slide. Because this is some examples of other forms of collaboration that can also be open or closed, but most of these are closed. And it's something that's called the cross-functional collaboration that involves working with people who have different job functions. I think that's like probably the most common for every creative field, I guess. And it's also extremely fruitful. That is something that a lot of groups and artists that comes to us, sort of, it's a step or like a way of making it that they forget, I think, because it feels like they are like the artist and like they have a big vision, and they might think that they are the only ones that could actually make that vision come true. And of course, they are like a big ingredients, but maybe they need like more skill sets that they don't have themselves. So the more ambitious artists that we work with that have like came a bit further, they always do that, or like it's very really common that they gather friends together to work as like their own management company before they actually have any output economically from it. So they like gather maybe someone, a friend that's interested and has some know-how in communication or social media, and they get in charge. They can be in charge on that part. Maybe they have another friend that's an audio engineer that can maybe work with their live shows and be a mixing engineer for like their studio sessions. And maybe someone that works more focus on the business side of things, like contracts and commercial brand collaborations and networking, the networking parts of the industry, I guess. So that's pretty common. It's also, since we do like a lot of songwriting camps, it's very divided there. You have really specific skill sets for each individual. When you write songs in sessions like that, you usually have like one person that's a top liner, and that one mainly focusing on melody hooks and lyrics. And then you have a track maker that's focusing on recording and making the music production part of it. And sometimes you have, if you're like 3 people, it could be someone that's focusing on songwriting and playing an instrument. So you try to like to make the best out of each every person's skill sets, I guess. So that's cross-functional collaboration. The cross-cultural collaborations are people from other countries or cultures to learn more about different markets and encourage innovations. That could be pretty cool. I guess we're trying to do that in this particular project, I guess. And the virtual collaborations, that's been, I mean, it was like maybe the only way to collaborate during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, um, and yeah, that's actually, yeah, that's something that you do online basically. And in that way, in all these different forms of collaborations, you can do it in different ways. You can do it synchronous, and that's like the normal type of meeting you have, like an online meeting, or you're together in a room at the same time. And the asynchronous, that's like it can be time shifted in case you have like cross-cultural collaboration. And you're actually you have to do it asynchronous, like I've been working with people that lives in LA, for example. That's a bit of a hassle because like when I want to round off my day and go to sleep, they start their day. So in that way you have to like that's a factor that you have to be really aware about. But that's also much easier now, I guess, after the world been leveling up on the digital competencies. So also for the cultural footprint, we have the MOOC platform called, right? MOOC
Yeah, the
platform.
MOOC. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So and it's for all the participants, so you can like go back to the different parts of this whole project to look at it again. And in this case, it's powered by something called Learnify. So yeah, that's
Can I just
some of
ask a
the,
question, Johan?
yeah, of course.
When you describe this, for example, the cross-functional collaboration, and when you have like a group where someone is, I don't know the names, but you said the top
Top
lyric,
liner,
yeah,
yeah,
top liner.
for the
In
songwriting
this
camp.
kind of like like in this kind of collaboration, who is taking the leading role? Or anyone leader in this kind of teams, or everyone so like well aware of their skills and they know exactly what to do, so the process is moving like forward by itself, or how do you explain it?
Yeah, that's different from group to group, and it's also different like from what kind of music you're making. Some musical genres are more driven by maybe the production is like a big part of the actual song. In that case, the track makers are um, okay. Yes, Collins said something here. I look at later. Sorry, Collins. Yeah, so the track makers are maybe more of the leader, and I'm thinking like that's pretty that's something that's almost in all of these. Like if you're working with more like I don't know how to say it, like modern genres, it's a lot of them are like driven by the production, like how it sounds, sort of. But if you write songs in a more traditional way, it's usually maybe the top liner and or the songwriters that are the leaders, since it's all about maybe chords and melodies. That's like the biggest thing, for a song like I don't know, singer-songwriter, pop rock songs or whatever. So it really depends, and it's also like who's the most experienced. But I think it's really vital to have the track maker or like the producer to be someone that scans the room and let everyone come in, with their points of views or like ideas. So it might seem easy in a way, but it's like yeah, it's a lot. It takes you have to be really transparent, and you have to be really brave, I guess, to be in those kind of situations. But it's really interesting. It's interesting to be like in a session songwriting thing, because you meet like new people from the first time, and then you're supposed to be able to create, from scratch. like 5 minutes after you met them, you know. So it's interesting. So I guess to answer your question, it differs, like from what sort of genre it is, or yeah.
Good. Did we have a
See.
comment as well in the chat? Or?
Yeah, see, but okay.
It's
Nice
more
to
of
hear.
an introduction from Collins.
Yeah. Okay.
From one of our participants.
Oh, that's nice.
And yeah, she's also explaining her organization in Kenya.
Oh, cool. Very welcome.
Look into that later. Nice to have you here. Yeah, so there's collaborations on those different kind of collaborations, and then we have cooperations. And that's quite, I mean, they differ from each other, and to know what sort of collaboration you need, or like if you want to cooperate on something or collaborate, you need to ask yourself a lot of questions. Do you want to help from others to achieve like your own goals? You have like a really, you know, bright outline of what you want to do, but you just need some more, you know, skill sets to make it happen. Or do you want to, you know, do something together, or really like make something together? Maybe have like a shared vision, and like we want to get there, but how we get there, it's more of like something we need to find out together. So that's extremely important. I think that for all of these things, like for all of these different webinars, or like these parts that we have in cultural footprint, I think it's crucial to ask yourself questions like, who do you want to be? Like, what are your goals? And who do you want to be as an artist? Like, and that's, I don't know. I think most people assume that you know that, but maybe it's something that you forgot to ask yourself. I think that's pretty common, actually. And if you are like in a group together, that's like even more seldom that I see people talking about this, even if they're actually collaborate, you know, together. It's really seldom that they actually talk about these things, because you kind of, it's easy to assume that because we're like in a band together and, you know, we share the same vision, but as long as you don't actually ask people, what's your vision? What's the most important thing? What do you think like is the best goal for our band or whatever? Maybe you can get like a different answer than you thought, because you sort of assume that everyone's working together for the same cause, or like towards the same goal. So it's a very good thing to, you know, remind yourself of, that actually talk about these things. But it's like it's two different things, you know, to continue on like the music side of things. Like, do you want someone that can help you achieve the goal that you already have, and you can be much more, you know, focused on your own way or your own goals to do it? Or do you want to, you know, go into the unknown sort of and cooperate together towards, you know, a vision? So that's two different sides of it. And a lot of these things are sort of linked to, you know, the branding of yourself. And we will go through that much more in module 6. That's called Promote Your Art. Georgios, who are the trainers from Promote Your Art?
It will be Marianthi from Incubator.
Okay. Cool. That will be a good one, probably. So yeah, I think that's all from me regarding this, like the overview.
Can I also just ask you, I'm asking you all these questions, Johan, but for example,
yeah.
I can assume that you have seen a lot of bands that they have a big vision and they're going to do this goal together, and then maybe in the end or in the middle they split up. Is that often because they have a different goals and different vision for their bands? They're like going in different directions because maybe they haven't talked about this from the beginning, or what's your analyze?
Yeah, I think that's really common. It happened to me to like what my first band actually, like and I've seen it a lot, like because it's usually it's really, I mean, I guess that's like it applies to a lot of like all the relationships in life, I guess. I mean, it could be the same with a wife or a husband or something also, that you sort of assume that you know what they want, you know. But as long as you don't talk about it, you can't really be sure. And it's also, if you go, if all the people in a relationship, you know, have think the same, that I know what I want and this other person in the relationship also know what I want, and we're doing this together and we have a shared goal, then you sort of, you know, grow away from each other. So I think that's really common. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, how we talk at SENSUS when we um, start cooperating with the groups, that is like part of our thing, that they together need to achieve goals and they need to update the goals like every, you know, 6 months or something. Like, okay, so now we're here, but what we're going to focus on the next period. And it's but it's really, really hard to, you know, remind yourself of, you know, having these kind of talks, especially when you're busy of making music or going on a live tour or whatever. So I think it's basically a really good, you know, it's good to reassure that everyone involved, you know, in reaching this goal or have a vision together, that we actually have and share the same vision. So, yeah.
Yeah, great. I think this is like exactly like you said, it's the same in life, in relations, in these projects. And I mean, we develop all the time. So that's also, I mean, I guess our creativity also develop and can be something else in 10 years compared to where I am now. And so,
Yeah,
okay.
definitely.
So I think now, if I'm not mistaken, this we have already talked about, right, Johan? So I don't think
Yeah.
we need to. But I think, like, to sum up this discussion, take this question with you home and like think about this and reflect about this with you and your group and so on.
Yeah, and
Now,
maybe
yeah,
also like maybe also think about, you know, during the break, like if you have a specific goal or vision to, you know, succeed with something, is there like any specific skill sets that you lack, that you don't have yourself, or like maybe something that's hard for you to do or uninspiring or something, and try to like make a list of things that you would benefit from having, and maybe someone else, you know, can help you with that, you know.
yeah,
Maybe
that's
that's a
great.
good thing to keep
Yeah, and if you think
till
about,
later.
yeah, and also if you think about that during the break, as you once said, we're gonna later on do exercise with this, so you have prepared yourself a little bit more for that. Now we're gonna take a break. We had said 15 minutes. Should we stick to that, Johan, or should we make it shorter? Time is 6:28 Stockholm time. Should we?
Yeah, I think we should. I think it's good with a break.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
So we meet again in 15 minutes, and don't log out from this link. Just remain here and turn your microphone off and take some refreshment. Take care of yourself in 15 minutes, and we meet again and do the rest of the part then. Okay, bye for
Thank
now.
you.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a nice 15 minutes-ish. Let's see, do we have Georgios with us?
Always.
Check. Always. That's great. Always. That's good. Okay, but then I think we're gonna start. And as I said, welcome back, everyone. Now we're gonna do the last 45-ish minutes before we're gonna end this session. So before the break, we talked about what collaboration is, different forms of collaboration, and important questions to ask yourself to get a successful collaboration. We also want to highlight some good digital tools that you can use when doing collaboration and communication with others. I know some of this is super basic steps, but in order for you to even have online communication today, the step one is for you to have our example is to have a Google account, which is the email, the Google Docs, the Google PowerPoint, etc. And I mean this is because you need an email to get online communication. However, the email is not maybe the way to get an immediate response. Try to get people's phone number, WhatsApp number, etc. And as you can see, for the immediate response, we have WhatsApp, Skype, Messenger in there, and all of these are for instant messages solutions, and if you want to reach someone else quicker. The email is more professional, of course. And also you can use video conferencing tools such as Teams and Microsoft Teams. And this Microsoft Teams, we work with a lot in this Erasmus Plus projects, since we cannot meet each other all the time. We only have 2 meetings, physical meetings a year, approximately. And meanwhile, we need to collaborate with each other. So it's very helpful for us. Also, you can have social intranet tools such as Etsy, where you create your artistic profile and yeah, you showcase your artistic profile and your products. Also, if you're an artist, you can be on Spotify and SoundCloud. When building your collaboration, as we said, it's very important to ask yourself the 3 questions: how, why, and what. But also it's important that you set goals that motivate you and the person you're going to work with. And for example, if you are going to collaborate with anyone, and if I were to share my goals with others, what would I tell them to convince them that this is a worthwhile goal, this is something that they should collaborate with me with, and so on. So by motivating, like asking yourself these kind of statements, you can also be much better prepared for when you maybe have a meeting with a potential collaboration partner. Sorry. Also, yes, when doing this and formatting your collaboration goals, we would suggest that you can also work with a SMART model. I know that there are other modules in this project also working with the SMART model in different ways, but we want to highlight this as well in our module. And with the SMART, it means the S stands for the specific goal. Which kind of goal do you want to do? The M is the measurable. How can you measure your goals? For example, you talked about that you have following up meetings with your groups, that you check the goals every 6 months and so on. You can do this with yourself as well and your team. The A is the goal achievable. Can you achieve your goal, and how are you going to do it? R, is it a realistic goal? Will it be realistic to meet this goal in, say, 6 months, 1 month, and so on? And the T is which time? How long is this goal going to take, and where are your deadlines? And here you can set many deadlines as well. Sorry. And again, I think I want to stress this. I cannot stress this enough, I think. When you form the collaboration, ask yourself why, how, and what. And we want to really like share these three questions with you to take with you home when you are thinking or developing collaborations with others. And also when you have the collaboration, or you have the collaboration going, and maybe you have been in collaboration with someone for a few months or many years, you maybe from that want to build a business partnership. You want to become partner with someone. And when doing so, it's important that you set the clear expectations, what you want to achieve together, what's the goal, that you consider the partner as a part of your team. Of course, you're going to do the teamwork together. And as we said in the beginning, that you have respect for each other's time and you are transparent with each other and so on. That you give the partnership room to grow. That is not going to be perfect in the beginning and it's going to be developing over time. And fourth, that you make honest and transparency in your watchwords and that you know what you're going to do and you're transparent with that, with each others and with others. Do any one of you have experiences of a successful partnership? Johan, do you have a good partnership, maybe from your music career?
Yeah, definitely. I don't really know what to choose, but yeah, I can see. Yeah, that's one thing. Um, on the part of uh, you know, to give the partnership room to grow. I was a co-owner of a internet company that we did like a portal that was really um, a really modern thing, you know, in the early 2000s. Like everyone should have a portal, like a music portal that gathered like a lot of music sites together, and you could like just surf into our gallery music network, and then we had like different partners from that had like blogs and reviews of different kind of music and forums and stuff like that. And that was from that part. It was like when the internet, uh, like the bubble burst. So we got like a lot of money to make that company from investment companies and that part. And like right when we started it, the bubble burst. So the investment company that you know were supporting us financially, they had to close down. So then you know we all came in together with the goal to like make this nice portal. But when that money disappeared, we had to focus and see like what we had. And from that, it became even better because like one of these sites that we worked together with, um, uh, we took the idea of like starting a record company instead. So that's like how we did it. And something like a failure. I mean, if you have like a goal, and then you know, on the journey of achieving that goal, things happen, of course, and that's extremely important. Then that that you're loyal to each other because you're in the same boat, and also look around to see, yeah, what do we have? What can we work with? And in our part, that record company was like a hip hop music genre company. We released like 25 albums in 3 years after that, and I think that's like became more of a success, but it wasn't like the idea or the vision from the beginning. So yeah, that made me think of like room to grow because we grew in a direction that wasn't actually the goal from the beginning, but it became better. Yeah.
Yeah, and also that you can give each other room to grow and to make mistakes. That
Yeah,
is not you if you're partnered or a team with someone and someone make a mistake or something happens, you don't just quit for that if it's not a huge thing that is like everything is shaken. But it, as you said, that you learn from that, and you develop.
yeah. Those things can also give like motivation to
Mm.
rethink your ideas. Yeah,
Yes. Also, when we work with relations and partnerships and collaboration here at SENSUS, one key for, I think, for our success actually is that we always think about diversity and competences. That we want to have mixed group that is not homogeneous. That we have group with people from different backgrounds, with different experiences, different ages. Yeah, you name it, everything. And I think, I mean, it's not just us, it's many strong teams and many successful teams in successful companies that have built teams that are built on diversity. And I just want you to reflect by yourself. And if you want to share, you are very welcome to share in the chat that, because if you're going to build a strong team and build a strong collaboration, I think it's important that we ask ourselves what is our personal motivations, what drives us, and so on. So please reflect for yourself, what are your personal motivations, and what competences do you have right now, and how do we make the best use of our differences? So maybe you can answer what your personal motivations are and how can we make the best use of our differences. And maybe you have been in a group with diversity. So take a few minutes to reflect on this. Have we gotten answers in the chat?
Not yet.
Maybe I can, I think I can just have a short reflection by myself. Meanwhile, I think, for example, in these kind of Erasmus projects, one of our like strongest side is that we have a big diversity of different backgrounds, nationalities, expertise, and very like different types of organization. And from my side, working in these projects, I've learned a lot about like basic human psychology, like how we work in different groups and different and common methods. And I have learned a lot of different way of handling issues and tasks and how you can work more efficient together. And I think that's a way of making the best use of the differences in our projects. And I think much of that is solved by that we have very clear expectations of each other. We know our areas of expertise and we make the best out of that, and so on. Um, any else, anyone else wanting to share, or do we have anything in the chat? Otherwise, I'm gonna move on.
Yes, I guess you can
think,
move on now,
yeah.
Erika.
Okay, so also when talking about collaboration with others, it can be some situations or actually projects or collaborations where you need to take the role as a leader. And I would start with asking you, what do you identify as a good leader? Maybe you have a role model for a leader, and what do you think is the characteristics of one? You can think by yourself. Maybe you and me can answer meanwhile and give some examples. I can say, for example, for me, a good leader is someone that are transparent, have respect, take into account people differences and people special interests, and I would say special skills. Um, that also think about building a team with different competences and skills where people can develop um, from that. What do you think, Johan? What's a good leader according to you?
Yeah, I think to be a leader and for any group is one of the most important things is to be able to listen, to not assume too much what all the other people are saying, to actually ask questions and listen to what people are actually saying or answering that question. And we have some from Collins. Collaboration has built my self-esteem and self-confidence. Collaboration has created a sense of belonging in me and my organization members. Yeah, that's a good reflection.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah. And to feel that you belong to a group and that you're, welcomed in that group, no matter what. I think that's like a good common ground to have. So you don't have, you don't have team members that are afraid of speaking their mind or, actually letting letting the group know what you're thinking. A group shouldn't have that kind of fear, that element of fear in it. You should feel that you're welcomed and that you can actually, think out loud, without being judged, I guess.
And I think speaking of that, also like key component is that you are aware of the norms and the power structures and the way that maybe your team or you as a leader make other people feel, and which kind of, how you say, norm do you have in your group? Is it okay to say some things? What is the unwritten rules? What is the written rules? For example, one of the methods that we use a lot here at SENSUS with our groups when they are new or when we meet a group or even us colleagues that we're going to have a meeting together is to start with the meeting and ask everyone, what do you need for this session to be good? What are your needs today and where are you today? Maybe you need to take a call or so, and then you end up and you together as a group create a list. This is what the participants need, and from that you do a rules list saying that, okay, this is what we need and how can we achieve this together. By doing those kind of simple methods, you can create a more safe room for the meeting, for your partnership, for your, yeah, basically everything. You can like you make the atmosphere way much, how we say,
Friendlier.
transparent and
Yeah,
clear. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And with this said, our tip to you, when you might gonna go in to a role as a leader, is that you first of all identify the roles that you need to see that are necessary for achieving your goals. So when you have this project or this collaboration you're gonna do, where first you have these three questions: what, how, and why. And then, okay, when we have this, which kind of roles and which kind of tasks do we need to be done? Say you need you're going to do a financial task, then maybe you need an accountant. You need to take in that kind of skill in your team, etc., etc. And also that you as a leader distribute the roles and the responsibilities among the team members, and that is based on your competences. So the roles of the accountant, it's built that she has that skill. So though with those tips you can get quite far, I think.
And we have an answer from Hilma about the characteristics, I guess, of a good leader. That a good leader is someone that can communicate expectations and is willing to listen and does not make people feel afraid or stupid.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. Actually, especially don't make anyone feel stupid or left out, or especially if you're coming into a new group, for example. It's a very sensitive position to be in, and then you really need a leader that listens and pays respect to you and don't make you look like a fool. Because that's also a power technique, so that should never be done actually. Okay, so say now you have created a collaboration, you maybe have involved into a partnership, and now you want to involve and develop your collaboration. And if say you're in the situation that your partner doesn't have the same values or share the same goals, that can be like stressful and can sometimes like not ruin, but as you once said, it can destroy like good collaborations that maybe was before. So again, ask yourself these questions we talked about earlier. What's your vision? What's your motivation? Where's the ending goal? And make sure you don't end up in the wrong partnership. It might look very easy, but it's very hard, because I think all of us have been in partnership where there have been some mistakes or some misunderstandings, or just things are not working out. And to avoid that, we have a list of 8 competences and qualities that we would like to share with you. You're going to get this from us later on. And these are the competences that we at SENSUS think is very good if you want to build a strong team. This is, of course, you have many more competences, and this is just a 8 bunch. Like we have bunched together a lot of competences into one. But if you want to build a strong team and collaboration, these competences can be good to look for and to build a team around. First of all is the cognitive competence, and that's the ability to analyze and solve problems. Secondly, we have the theoretical and practical knowledge in the specific field or project you're going to work together in. Then you have affective competence, and that's the willingness and openness to change and risk and stress tolerance, coping with setbacks, etc. Then you have social competence, and that's the ability to collaborate and interact with others. And the creative competence, the ability to see what's not visible, the image, and create images and visions. Sorry. We have the pedagogical and communicative competence, that's the ability to shape and convey and receive messages, etc. And also administrative competence, that's the ability to administer, plan, and develop and structure your goals or projects. And the strategic competence, and that's the ability to choose and take the right actions and decisions in maybe the right time. So these are some of the competences, and I think sorry. I think that many of you actually have at least one or more of these competences in this room right now. And I think that it could be a nice idea for us to see which competences we have in this room right now and which competences you might need for your company or your artistic development to grow. Say, for example, I need to develop my financial skills, I need more structural skills, etc. So I'm going to do a try with you, and I'm going to ask you to, let's see, I'm going to send you a link in the chat.
I just read it, Erika,
Oh,
by
great.
the way.
So can you try open this? I'm going to share my screen, because then when you open the link, it's going to look like this. Great, we have already participants in here. And in here you have on this side, my competences. and competences I need right now. So here I want you to list at least 3. You can do less or more if you want. 3 of your competences that you think you have right now. For example, I maybe think that I have one of my competences is that I'm good in pedagogics, or I'm a structure, um, I'm good in administrative work, etc. And here I write I would need someone that helped me with what I'm gonna say, communication, for example. Here we can see creativity, great. And I'm gonna say here, either you do a note with this, you press on this one, the note, and then you write, and then you click save. Or you can go to this one, text, and you can write, and you insert. So here we see creativity. And if it's hard for you, you can write in the chat as well, and we can insert. So as I said, you click here on this, you write, and you click save. Good. We have creativity, we have strategy. Johan, which competences would you say that you have? Asking you the question. Contacts, we have. Good.
Yeah. I think I can agree on the ones that are actually up there.
I see
Also
social
like
competences.
specific, yeah, specific knowledge, but yeah, what we're after here is more these kind of things, right? With a more like wide. Let's see, maybe I should add one myself.
Yeah. And just to make that clear for you all, our goal with this, or the goal we were thinking about, was that we can see which competences we have, and maybe we see here that the competences you need we can find in this room, so we can already here build a connection to each other. So say for example, one of you need actually a person that are more strategic and that have a lot of contacts in the artistic world. This is perfect, because then you can build connection with each other from these sessions. Because right now I think we have at least 6 or 7 countries represented, and that's a broad market. Braveness, smart and fast, contacts. Organization. And also to do exercise time, you need organization. Okay, we have one that needs organization, and we have one here that have skills in strategy, admin. Admin you need. Smart and fast. Yeah, I think it's very nice. Thank you all for answering. I think we have some answers at least, and I think just by you solution oriented, you are that good. Okay, I think we're gonna share this. I'm gonna share the link with you again in the chat so you can go back to this later on. Multi-experience, that's good. And we would actually, I'm gonna stop my sharing now. Sorry if you're still in writing, but from this, can we conclude, do we have any matches that we can work from? My suggestion is that if you're okay with that, you can maybe share. This is if you want, and if you are okay with it, you can share each other's Instagram profile, or if you have an Etsy account or a soundtrack account or something that you have that is linked to you and your art. I think it could be a really nice way of like summarizing this collaboration session together. Because now we have talked about what collaboration is, how you form a collaboration. Here we have Hilma. Great, thank you so much. Is it okay, Hilma, if I open it? This is great, perfect. And it's nice. Perfect. And I think this is a way of you just showing yourself to each other, and Johan's Instagram is there as well, and to get new contacts and maybe have a collaboration in the future, because in the end we are in the same field of culture and art. I don't know, Johan, do you want to summarize anything from this last practical exercise? Important notes for us to take with us before we end?
I think it's like I mean, it can be very basic, these kind of things, but I think it's really important to actually go back to basics, to actually start something new, to have a fresh new way of collaborating. And I think everyone should really share their like socials or whatever, because that's a really nice way to network. And I think that's probably one of the things that for you guys that are in this project, I think you should focus a lot on that, and pick the cherries from each of these different modules, because some things I mean are quite basic for some of you, I guess, but the same things can be, maybe ignite like an idea for somebody else that has like a different experience. So network and try to have an open mind. It's like what I think that mindset you should have.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I just want to like summarize as well and say that all of these methods and techniques that we have showed you today, the SMART technique, the 8 competences, the self-reflection questions, the motivation question that Johan asked you in beginning, take those as a toolkit with you for your further development. And yeah, stay tuned for the upcoming webinars with other specific, really interesting topics, and collaborate with each other. I think that's all from us now. Thank you so much. And if you want, before we end, you can share maybe a word or a sentence about if you have learned anything new and what's your feeling right now. For example, my feeling is that I'm a little bit tired, but I feel that it was very nice having this together with all of you. So thank you for tonight and for this session together. Johan, Georgios.
Thank you very much, both of you, Erika and Johan. Thank you very much for the comprehensive presentation and besides gaining very useful insights about collaboration, you also actually promoted and supporting the building of collaborations here in the chat. Thank you very much, everyone, also for joining today's session and participating as well. I just sent you and shared with you in the chat the link to the evaluation form. So before closing the session and logging out, just please take a few minutes to fill in the evaluation form. It is very easy. You just enter the link, you choose the webinar you've just attending, meaning the fourth module, and you just provide us with your feedback. It is very important for us to have your feedback and point of view regarding both the organization of the webinar as well as the content that was presented to you. You will also receive it via email, and I have also shared with you above, as you will see, links to the project's website, the Cultural Footprint Project's website. You will there be able to find the handbook that was created under the framework of the project. There you will find also all the modules with the theoretical information and the exercises. You will also find relevant networking opportunities or future activities of the project where you could participate potentially. So yeah, if there aren't any remarks by any of you or today's trainers, our next webinar is next Tuesday on the 17th, and it will cover the fifth module, which is about getting to know your market as artists. So we'll diving also deeper into the entrepreneurial mindsets, especially for artists. And the first step is for you to get to know your market. So this will be on next Tuesday. Please follow this link for the evaluation form. And if there aren't any remarks, I guess we can close the session. Thank you, Jana, for participating. Hello again. Thank you very much for being here. Okay. If there
Thank you so
aren't
much.
any...
See you on Tuesday, because we're gonna be here again for this.
You're gonna meet us again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much
Okay,
for
everyone.
tonight.
Thank you so much.
Peace
Bye.
out.
Take care.
Bye.
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 Bye, everyone.